Okay, so the opening question is if you had no budget, so like you have all the money in the world and you have one day to do anything, what are you doing? Where are you going? Who are you with? So that was the question. And start with Logan.
I'm going to Venice, and I'm gonna drive probably an F40 Ferrari.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
That's cool, dude.
Go on a boring vacation with my family, like Rome.
Summit a mountain in Antarctica and or drink myself to oblivion in Germany.
Oh, that's no fun.
Why?
But you're out of it. You
It's
don't
German
have to have
beer.
fun.
It's that's
Okay,
the whole
Landon.
thing.
I'm going to the Autobahn with all the cars that I want.
What cars?
Honestly, probably an R8 and then the Rimac Navara.
Ooh.
That thing is a mess.
Nick.
I'd probably buy a house, just so I don't have to worry about
No,
buying
this is a
one.
day doing something.
Yeah, I'd
You
probably
would buy a house. Okay, yeah, you'd spend your day with a real estate agent buying a house. Nice.
Yeah.
Good answer, I guess.
Buying houses.
Yeah. If I have to return.
I'll probably be at like Italy, Portofino, and like an R8 as well. Yeah.
I would go to bed.
Like a mattress store, or you're buying like a.
I would just go to sleep.
You can go to sleep without a care in the world.
It's only one day. It's not
So
gonna change your life.
That's
I felt like I could like do everything that I actually wanted to do in a day, actually without money.
That's cool. Good way to live. Be content.
I would probably, yeah, the day makes it hard for me, but I would at this point, I would probably go somewhere with a beach. Hawaii, Mexico, DR, I don't know,
You wouldn't order
Jamaica.
You wouldn't order every single working car part for your cars.
Nope.
He'll do that on his own.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, I've been doing that for a while.
My answer is similar to Jesse's. I would lay on a beach, just sitting in the sun all day. That's all I would want to do. Like David, just sleep, but on a beach in the sun, getting something. So,
Play in the ocean a little bit.
yeah. I have this just to also remind us of goals. I mean, one of the things I want you to think about is the goals that we wrote down in the first meeting of the month. Just remember, if you could email your goals to me, Jesse, and Victor, so that we can keep you accountable too. Something about goals is to relook at them frequently and track where you're at. I don't know how any of you are feeling like you're doing, but I'm sure some of you are achieving some of the things and some of you are looking at that, remembering what you said and trying to see where you're at and what you're doing. This is the numbers. Today we're going to talk about the tracking connected service. So we're going to talk about tracking and connected services, trial closing, asking for the sale and selling the appointment, not the car. This is for you, Mac. I did that for you. Our tracking number was 67, so I did that for you. But yeah, so we're tracking 25 as of, this would have been when I did the numbers yesterday night. It was 23 new sold, and then the forecast is 40. So we're obviously off our forecast quite a bit. So we're probably gonna have to double up some months. So you take that, if we actually hit 25, we're down, that would be 15 cars. So 15 divided by 12, that's an extra car to what we were already goaling per month that we're gonna have to add. And then 72 is what we were tracking for used. As of yesterday, we were at 66 and our forecast was 67. Boston just sold a used car, so we hit our forecast for sure. For the month, which is cool. On used, we did it, which is nice. And this is your connected services. So I was just going to show you what we're tracking, and this is the scoreboard on connected services and the surveys. So our NPS scores are pretty alright. The connected services are kind of alarming, so a lot of you are down. I'm confused though on this because it seems like all of you are giving me the same excuse, which doesn't make sense how all of you are low for the same excuse that you've connected every single customer that you know of, but somehow we're all low. So I kind of want to call Mazda and see which customers are missing it and what's the deal. You got to make sure that we're enrolling the car and getting the code so that you can do start stop. a lot of you have told me you're doing it that way, but we gotta make sure we're not just connecting the VIN, we have to actually enroll the car to make it count. And then this is as of the 30th, so as of what would be today. This is the surveys, I have it all tallied up of what your payout would be if, as long as you hit the metrics, and then how many surveys. We went from 19 to 33, so we almost doubled the amount of surveys just by putting a little bit more emphasis on it. And I wanted to emphasize this. This is what it looks like in your inbox. So we've sent customers this photo, and it actually helps them fill out the survey because it shows where it is and what it looks like. This goes into trash and spam a lot, but it's titled Mazda Customer Experience. That's like the subject head. If you want that photo, I can send it to you. So this is the metrics and the comparison. We had a really bad survey from one of the customers, but we got it fixed this week, which is cool because now we're at 94.3 and then our district's at 88.8. So we're beating most of the other stores around here. And then the sample size is 197. So of the 197 surveys that we've got back, 35 have been ours, which I think is a cool number considering how many stores there are. I'm assuming we could probably do more, but
There's 12 stores in our district.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
It's about 20% of the surveys.
Yeah.
yeah, which is cool.
Nice, go us.
And we're not the highest volume, so that's good.
That's double go us.
So yeah, we need to keep up emphasis on this, and surveys are super important.
Dogs.
It looks like these are the two things that are low, is explanation of CPO benefits and vehicle purchase time. We obviously already kind of know this one, so we've been implementing it. This one just barely popped up, that CPO benefits are going down, which means that we need to educate ourselves a little bit more. That's on management and us, just making sure you guys are educated.
So, quick question with that, do we know what they complained about on the surveys on the CPOs?
I think it was just an explanation of what the benefits
One
are.
one of the questions, if you go back, is was there a good explanation of the CPO benefits?
Say that again.
One of the questions were, one of the questions is, was there a good explanation of the CPO benefits? So that's where we're scoring low. So that they're saying no. They're clicking no on that survey. And then vehicle purchase complete time. That's a huge one. So a lot of what we've seen is that deal jackets just are not complete, and that starts at the write-up, getting the insurance, driver's licenses, registration. If we get all that up front with customers, that makes that process to load the deal way, way faster. And it's faster for you guys too. Because when we have to send you back from the desk back and forth, one, it gives the customer confusion and maybe lack of confidence. So getting that stuff up front and making that a standard practice, whether you think they're buying the car or not, having all the information every time you do a write-up, every possible time, get everything you possibly can, that is going to save us the most time. That's the biggest area of opportunity.
I was going to ask, when you get a customer from the start and they're like, oh, I just want to see some numbers, and you say, oh, have you got your insurance card? And they're like, why do you want that? I just want to see some numbers. Like, what do we use as a reason to get that information?
I would just explain to them, when you kind of in the way that you set it up. Okay, what would be the address? You want to see some numbers? What would be the address that you're registering this car to? Some ownership questions. Okay, and who do you insure with now? Okay, will you be insuring with them on the next vehicle? One of the things we'll need as we process your paperwork, should you choose to buy, is an insurance card. So we can save you some time by getting that up front now.
Yeah.
And you just, it's all in the setup. There's going to be times that they say no, but
If you ask for insurance when you get driver's license, a lot of times you have less hiccup because they just assume you're using it for them to drive it.
Right.
So I noticed it was easier for me to just ask for driver's license and insurance at the same time, because then they just subconsciously assume that the insurance is to make sure they're insured to drive our cars.
especially where we're doing the trade walk around before the demo now, it's usually in their glove box, right? So that'll make a difference.
Yeah.
We could always ask that too.
And it's good to know, because if they don't have a valid insurance card in their name or an active policy, we actually can't deliver the car. So that you get that hiccup out of the way rather than going through the full process and then being disappointed that they can't take the car when we find out 5 steps later.
So trial closing is something that I wanted to focus on because I feel like a lot of us just aren't asking for the sale enough or hard enough, or it's just uncomfortable, and so we're letting customers kind of walk all over us. If feel like we're not checking the temperature, but we're just showing cars, so that's why that picture's there. I think it's fun. Good examples of a trial close are just after a walk around of the vehicle, if this car works out for you and price and payment makes sense, would you take the car home today? Things like that. And then Landon and I worked with a customer the other day, and I asked him a few times if we fixed, or maybe it was Nick. Nick worked with a customer the other day. I asked him if we fixed the screen on the inside, the infotainment screen crack, is that the only thing holding you back from moving forward? And he said no, and then continued to say the only thing holding him back from moving forward was the infotainment system. And then we asked what it was, and then after 3 or 4 times figured out it's his trade value also. So trial closing gets those things out of the bag where it's, okay, if I do this, then do we have a car deal? If I do this, do we have a car deal? And then just getting out of the test drive. And then before numbers too. If these payments make sense, would you be taking the car home today and kind of getting those things out up front? Like, no, because I don't have my check from the insurance. Well, we have promissory notes, or maybe they can bring the down payment tomorrow, or maybe we can get them approved for a payment that they like with less down. There's always things to go about it, and you get it out of the bag up front, makes it easier. Trial closes give directions, and then the objections show up early instead of at the desk, which help you guys sell a car. Aside from price or payment, would there be any reason you want to take this car home today and you find out that they don't like the cracked windshield, or they find out they don't like the gray color, things like that. So just helps with also what we were talking about with time. If you're showing 4 cars and then writing up 4 cars and then going out to another car that they can get approved on or that they like more, they're going to spend hours longer here instead of just trial closing and qualifying up front. And then you cannot sell a car you never asked for. So that's the thing. Not only trial closes, I feel like we need to be actually closing when we get to the pencil. Instead of just waiting for a commitment, we need to be going for closing the car deal and getting the commitment, if that makes sense. I feel like a lot of you and me, when I was a salesperson, I did it as well, where I would get a pencil and I'm like, oh, they're not going to do this, so I'm just going to go for a commitment instead of trying and closing the car deal itself, which is costing us gross, you guys gross. So we just need to make sure that we're trying to sell the first pencil and get the first pencil signed. Asking, does 60 or 72 months work better for you? 1,000 down, 2,000 down. Okay, does that payment work? Would you care if I have them gas and wash the car for you? And then let them answer instead of, oh, this payment doesn't work. I can maybe get better, or we can go 72. Just don't be your own objection.
Even if you have a preconceived notion and you totally believe that they're not moving forward, you've got to give them the opportunity to buy it by asking them to buy it at that point. Because people will buy from people they like, but they won't buy from people they like if you don't ask them to buy the car. So you really got to give them the opportunity to say yes. And if you're showing numbers, there should never be a time where you don't give that opportunity.
One of my first deals with Jesse when I started was Freddie Rios, and he wanted a $400 payment, and I walked out with the first pencil at $800, and he signed the first pencil. But I got the pencil, I was like, oh, this is not a car deal. Jesse like, just go show it to him. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be a waste of time. Walked over there, and he's like, looks at his wife in Spanish, he's like, can we afford that? She's like, well, yeah, but we didn't want to. He's like, yeah, but I really love the car. That's okay. And just like, so it was like, it was cool. It was cool to see how we are our own, like wall or objection more often than not. And then going along with that, I've listened to a lot of phone ups recently, and then I kind of wish that we used to have this Marcom system or whoever it was that would record our phone ups. I think we still record phone ups, I just don't know how to get access to it, but I wish we could listen to one as a group together so you guys could kind of hear how it goes, because I think we should start doing that. Just the appointments, I feel like, are not getting sold, and I feel like we are selling the car and not the appointment, which is what we should be doing when we're taking phone ups. We should always be making sure that the only product on the phone is the appointment. Just make sure that you're always going for the appointment, even when they're asking for numbers and things. Always ask questions to get an appointment. I mean, me and Chris had a guy this morning that phoned up and he would not give an appointment. He wanted an out the door, and I said, well, if we can get to your out the door number, when would you want to come in? Are you thinking afternoon or morning? And then he told us 12:30. Is he still planning on coming in at 12:30?
He just hasn't answered.
Okay. Didn't text back. Interesting. Okay. The reason people come here is to make the process fast and easy. So I'll have the vehicle pulled up and ready. And then give a reason to come. It saves time. Makes it so they can get a proper trade evaluation. The vehicle availability changes fast. Working numbers over the phone, you have no leverage of ever closing a car deal. So I just think that a lot of time we get in the weeds with things that don't matter. So we need to, as we aim our customers, we need to aim them on the phone and go for the appointment. And then something super specific about appointments, always give options of either or. Something that Jesse mentioned in our meeting chat, that is also true that I always do with appointments is always go on the 15 or the 45 because it's more likely to remember. It's a psychology thing. Never do the even numbers of the 30 or the 00. 12, 15,
Does that make
12,
sense to you
45.
guys? What he's saying? Logan?
Mhm.
Okay. The difference is, if you say, what time would you like to come in today? How open does that leave that?
Shows
What-
you're not busy too.
What's their usual response?
I don't know, I'll have to
I
get
don't know.
back to you on that.
I don't know, it's probably the first one, right? People like options, and don't give them too many. And then if you, like Bryant just said, if you set the appointment up and say, look, I've got time available that I can carve out for you so you have my attention, so your time is used wisely and you're not just waiting for me at 12:15 or 12:45, which one works best for you? And a lot of times they're gonna pick a time. If not, then you can pivot and offer 2 other times. But if you leave it wide open, you're not selling the appointment. One of the things I'm gonna touch on that Coleman talked about with trial closing is CRIC. And he can explain, the first one's collect, right?
Clarify, reiterate, isolate, close.
Clarify, reiterate, isolate, close. So whatever you think the objection is, clarify that with them. Verbally repeat it to them. Okay, so what you're telling me is that you're not getting enough money for your trade-in, right? Reiterate it. Okay, so if we were able to get you enough money for your trade-in, then you would move forward today? That's the only thing keeping you from moving forward? And then you're closing it. So write that down, and when you feel like your deal is all over the place, you're on a pencil and you're going, I don't even know where to go with this. CRIC, CRIC. Use that.
Oh, I spelled that.
What's I and C?
Isolate and close. So clarify what it is, reiterate it to them. So clarify is really you're listening to what they're saying. Reiterate is repeating it back to them. Isolating it is, okay, so the only thing keeping you from moving forward is what we just talked about. So if I was able to do what what you're hoping for, or get you enough money for your trade, would you be moving forward today? And that's the close. So it's a really simple way to remember if you're kind of feeling like you're all over the place with the customer and you don't have a lot of control. That's how you find out. And you might have to do that several times in the deal or at the pencil to find out what the real objection is. Sometimes they'll give you smoke and mirrors, sometimes they're not going to give you exactly what it is. So I think that's a really good one to use.
Yeah, I mean, look at our day today. This is how it should be all the time. Just asking for appointments. We get so many phone ups and so many fresh ups that we can follow up with. The guy got here to work today and saw we had 16 appointments. It's like, oh, this is awesome. Confirmed, called, confirmed, called, confirmed, called, confirmed, called, all of these confirmed. So it was cool. It was a good way to start a day. It helps with the traffic too, even the fresh ups. When I've noticed when it's busy here, people that walk in feel FOMO for buying cars. So that's why our energy needs to be up when we're selling cars and when we're at work, instead of sitting back in our chair like Bryant when we're with customers and not being engaged and disappointed. Hey, I was gonna do an example, but you're sitting back like that. And it's like on the showroom when we're like that, customers can feel the energy. You need to make sure. One of the things I like too, I think it's important, is the music. I feel like if the music is more upbeat, customers buy cars more because they feel the energy in the dealership. If we're all down and muggy, they're not gonna buy cars. It just feels gross to be here. I'm sure you don't like working at work when it's slow and it feels dead. You guys are like, I wanna go home, I don't wanna be here. And then Saturdays when work goes by like this because it's super busy, you're like, I love my job, that was super fun. I had a lot of fun today. So just make sure that you guys are carrying yourselves with energy. And like I said, the reason I love appointments like this is because the more customers that are in the showroom, the more the fresh ups also want to buy a car because they feel a FOMO. They can feel the energy that people are buying cars and they're like, oh, I'm missing something here. They must have good deals or they take care of customers, or I just need to buy. So that's all I have.